Hey, this is Pete. I'm with the RNL Show. In the last few months, we have seen a vicious smear campaign against Rise Up for Abortion Rights, Sensora Taylor, the Revcoms, and especially targeting Bob Avakian. This began with a group of opportunist activists, then spread to the Daily Beast and so-called Progressive Intercept, then got picked up by fascists like the Daily Caller and Law Enforcement Today. But in the face of these lies and slanders, there's been an outpouring of people defending Bob Avakian and speaking from their perspective to why they value his work and leadership. These statements also show why the attacks on BA have no truth, no substance, and just seek to keep humanity chained to this rotten system. These haters claim that Bob Avakian is some kind of manipulative cult leader and the Revcoms are blind followers. Do they offer any evidence of this? No, just baseless accusations. Let's see what these statements say about this.
I want to specifically talk about BA's overall method and approach. As a sociologist, which is a type of social scientist, I find BA's call for an application of a thorough, rigorous, scientific approach to analyzing both the natural and, very importantly, the social world to be incredibly inspiring. Simply put, there was no one else who was doing this with the same degree of conviction, of fearlessness, of following the truth wherever it leads you as BA. In my own work as a researcher, writer, and instructor, I consistently try to learn from and emulate BA's approach, to follow the evidence, to interrogate and self-interrogate, to reject common wisdom and not accept established truths without subjecting them to rigorous analysis, to search and fight for what's true, no matter how uncomfortable or unpopular those truths may be, to emphasize epistemological method and how to approach understanding and transforming reality, to learn from others, including those with whom I may strongly disagree on many things, to speak and write in a way that breaks down complex ideas without losing their substance and essence, and to persist in spite of difficulties, obstacles, criticism, attacks, and hardships.
Bob Avakian a cult leader? I've heard this kind of talk for a long time. And each time it comes up, what do these forces who spread this accusation reveal about themselves? No engagement. Absolutely no serious engagement with anything Bob Avakian has written. Show me where, in anything Bob Avakian has written or in his talks, where he says his work shouldn't be scrutinized. People mustn't be intellectually lazy and just swallow this talk about cult. There is something called objective truth. And people will be played for fools if they refuse to realize there are people who do speak the truth. And there will be forces who don't like that and want to stop it. And that includes the truth about the problem and what the solution is. No one else other than Bob Avakian shouts revolution, nothing less, with real substance and over many decades.
Like Brother B said, the haters attacking Bob Avakian, calling him a cult leader, don't even bother to examine the actual work BA has done over decades. They have absolutely nothing to say about his analysis of the capitalist imperialist mode of production and how that's connected to patriarchy and white supremacy. Nothing about his analysis of the rise of American fascism and its roots in the very foundations of this country. Nothing about his strategy for an actual revolution. Nothing about his vision of a new socialist society and the new synthesis of communism he has developed. These haters are too cowardly to engage and debate this work because they are not about radically changing the world. That's why they use lies, distortions, and words like cult to try to scare people off. Check out these quotes from opportunist so-called journalists that were featured at The Intercept.
Rise Up for Abortion Rights is yet another one of Bob Avakian's many social justice fronts. He occupies space in order to get more people to join his weird cult.
Please know they are a scam, front-run by an MLM cult that thinks their dear leader will return to tell them how to revolution if everyone joins their cause. These folks are part of a widely despised cult of personality not tied to any serious repro health, rights, or justice organization. They are not supported by folks here doing the work on the ground. Nobody knows them, nobody likes them, they're not a thing.
Think about the low level of this critique. Now let's hear from some thoughtful people who have actually read and listened to BA and how they see the importance of the work he has done.
So when so-called progressive haters, coordinating with major media outlets, throw around accusations of cult in order to isolate BA and invite repression against him, not only do I find it intellectually dishonest, not only does it tell me that these fools haven't read with an open mind a damn thing written by BA, not only do I question the intent of these blowhard, woke sleepwalkers, I also take it very personal. Excuse my language, but these assholes haven't done shit compared to BA's work over the last 50 years. BA has consistently done the work to break down extremely complex concepts about science, understanding the world in order to change it, to broadly popularize in society. He's paid particular attention to bringing these ideas to the most oppressed, people denied education, caught up in superstition, harassed day in and day out by the powers that be, and simply trying to survive. I'm a product of this initiative he's taken. I came to understand communist theory, world history and cultures, biology and physics, and so much more through the work of BA. And I learned all these things not for some selfish pursuit to be an armchair intellectual, but BA continually challenged me to dedicate my life to making a revolution to liberate all the peoples throughout the world. And he actively leads the RCP and the masses around it in getting organized and prepared to go all out to make a real revolution.
I also want to speak to what I view as one of the crown jewels of BA's work. His radically visionary, awe-inspiring blueprint for a new and liberatory socialist society. As someone who has seriously studied BA's work over a number of years, I repeatedly return to the following insight of his, that in order to uproot all of the deep-seated and interwoven inequalities between women and men, between different nationalities and races, between those in the imperialist citadels and those of the oppressed nations, between those who can work with their minds and those forced to work like brute animals only with their bodies, between those viciously exploited by the workings of the capitalist mode of production and those who benefit from that exploitation, achieving what is sometimes called the abolition of the four alls. Society under socialism has to be opened up on a qualitatively greater plane, which requires a solid core with a lot of elasticity on the basis of that solid core. You need massive society-wide debate and wrangling. You need to be challenged. You need an unleashing of the arts, the sciences, of culture, of women, and of formerly oppressed peoples, of youth movements, on a level well beyond anything that has existed in previous socialist societies. To say nothing of the rotten, putrid, dog-eat-dog, might-makes-rightism of capitalist societies such as this one. This isn't some conciliation to liberal criticisms of socialism. Without this, without, as BA puts it, being willing to go to the brink of being drawn and quartered, but without losing your grip on the whole thing, humanity will never be able to uproot all of the deeply seated inequalities, divisions, and the ways of thinking that both correspond to and reinforce them. It's a groundbreaking, jaw-dropping, and deeply materialist development of the science of communism that I am continually provoked to revisit and reflect upon. All of this is completely in contrast to the utterly absurd, dangerously piggish, embarrassingly idiotic, and outright McCarthyite charges of cult and pyramid scheme that are being hurled at BA and those who follow him. That some of the people who are making these accusations fancy themselves as socialists or radicals is all the more despicable and stomach-churning.
Since these haters have no truth and no substance, they try to attack Bob Avakian as a person and slander his character. They make it seem like BA is just out for himself, and even falsely accuse him of financial fraud in order to make a bunch of money. These lies would be laughable if they weren't so dangerous, putting a target on BA's back and setting him up for attack by the state. Let's hear from some of the people who have BA's back and who can speak to what kind of person he is and why they follow him.
Why are you attacking Bob Avakian? Someone who is all about justice and making things better for all people. That's his goal. That's how I see Bob Avakian. We can't allow rumors to spread. Anyone who spreads lies about people and groups, such as the lies spread about Bob Avakian and Rise Up for abortion rights, anyone who spreads disinformation and targets those who are demonstrating on behalf of others being persecuted and oppressed, including half of humanity, women. Those people spreading these lies are people who really do not care about stopping this persecution and oppression.
I've worked with the Rev Club over many years, and I've never heard BA try to mislead or misguide anyone. They don't like the fact that BA is a thinker. He has a great mind, and people want to know what he is thinking. So therefore, people misconstrue and try to say that he has a cult. He doesn't have a cult. He has a group of thinkers like himself who are organized and strategizing to lead the masses in the rebellion against violence and against police brutality. So that's what's going on, and that's the BA I know. Anything else they said is just bullshit.
We know the tricks of COINTELPRO, divide and conquer. We know the history. We know how they killed Fred Hampton, Mark Clark, the various Black Panther Party leaders. And not only how they killed the Black Panther Party leaders, how they moved on all the political organizations of that time to dismantle, disrupt, and destroy those movements. So we have history of this. And Bob Avakian has not been silent about it. He's not held his tongue. He's not kowtowed and kissed ass like many other leaders do to appease the government. You got to respect a man like that. So it's important to immerse yourself in the knowledge of the movement of Bob Avakian and to support this leader and to protect him at all costs. Protect him at all costs because they have killed enough of our leaders. So we have to form a strong web around him and protect him.
Bob Avakian has been fighting against this system of capitalism and imperialism since the 60s and is never giving in to the corruption that has lured numerous others away from the goal of fighting for the people, and in fact has published a number of books to enlighten the masses on a real way to defeat this system and its puppets. When we have a leader amongst us with this kind of information, we should be taking it up. I've heard others, and this is true, and I've heard Bob Avakian, and this is my leader.
I know BA personally. The first time I heard him speak, I fell in love with him. And I don't know why someone wouldn't want to hear from someone who gets down to earth with things. I don't know who wouldn't want the truth. Anything having to do with oppression, he touches on it. He touches bases on police brutality, oppressed women. Yeah, he does a lot. All that gibberish they are talking is absolutely absurd. It's not Bobby. It's not his character. Gloria Pinex.
We really appreciate these powerful and moving statements. They are very timely and needed in the face of this smear campaign against Bob Avakian. We need much more of this. We encourage our viewers to go to revcom.us to read all the statements and send in your statements of support to the revcoms@gmail.com.